Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, we're gonna talk about what to do if you're an employee and you wanna be an entrepreneur. Now, in this video, I'm gonna give you a simple 4-step system that you can use that will take you from being an employee at any company to being an entrepreneur. Now, one caveat before we get started, if you're at a company that does a specific type of work, this is not gonna work for you. So you have to make sure that you're in one of the industries that this works for. And if you're not, I'm gonna give you a plan to get there. So what to do if you're an employee and you wanna be an entrepreneur? Okay, the first thing is to start learning about the industry that you wanna get into if you're not already in it, and the main technology that's part of that industry. So if you're already working as an employee in the industry that you want to get in, this is great, you have a shortcut. But if you're not, you have to start looking at what industry you want to get in as an entrepreneur and start looking at the main technologies that are used in that industry. Now the next part 2, it doesn't matter if you're already in the industry you want to be in or if you're transitioning to it. The second part is to reach out to people who are already in the position that you want to be in that industry. So for example, if you're in technology and you're doing marketing, but you want to work as an entrepreneur in that field, what you need to do is you first need to identify what technologies you want to focus on in that field of marketing, and then some people who are already doing what you want to do with those technologies. So for an example, technology that I use in my business is Facebook advertising. So one thing that I would have to do is I would have to start learning more about Facebook advertising and reach out to people who are entrepreneurs in my field using that technology of Facebook advertising. Now, if you're in a different job that you don't want to be in and you want to transition, this still applies to you. If you want to transition from whatever you're doing into, being an entrepreneur, you need to find out which industry you're going to go into and what the core technologies are that are being used in that industry. You need to start to learn about them, and then you need to start reaching out to people in that field who are already at the level that you want to be at. So the next part 3, you need to start some sort of project, okay? And the reason for this is twofold. First, you want to start a project so you can get practical hands-on experience with that core technology that's in the industry that you want to work in. So again, going back to the Facebook ads analogy here, if you want to work in that field as an entrepreneur, you probably need to have some experience running some Facebook ads campaigns. Another example would be if you want to get into web development, you need to have some experience doing that. So you probably want to set up some sort of website or blog using some of the technologies that you're learning about. And keep in mind, this is all happening simultaneously. Once you decide on the industry you want to get in and the main technologies and you're starting to learn them, you need to also be reaching out to people who are at the position you want to be in. So if we continue this web development example, if you want to be a private consultant, so you're remote and you have clients that you're working with from anywhere in the world, you need to reach out to someone that's doing that right now, either as an independent consultant or working at an agency, a web development agency. Reach out to them with some intelligent questions that are clearly researched about the industry. And this also is going to be helped when you're working on this technology. So if you're learning about it, it makes it much easier to reach out to people in that industry who might be able to answer specific questions you have about those technologies. And then part 4 of this, when people talk about getting into a new industry or job field, a common idea that comes up is this idea of, asking someone to meet up with you to pick their brain or to go out for coffee or one of these other ways to, unofficially meet someone in some sort of non-official capacity. The problem with this is that you're not really providing any value when you ask to have someone else's time. So an easy way to get around this is to offer to pay someone to teach you something or to do a consultation with you. And this is important because, people that are successful often have a lot of great information that they're dying to share with people. But the problem is they're not interested in sharing it with people who are unlikely or unwilling to use their advice exactly as given. They want to know that the time they spend and the advice that they give is not going to be wasted. And one of the easy ways you can identify yourself yourself as someone that's not gonna waste time is to offer to pay up front. And I don't mean offer to pay with the expectation that someone will say, no, that's all right. I mean genuinely offer to pay, ask what someone's rate is if you can pay them. The best way to go about this really is to just, if you're going to cold outreach to someone or reach out to someone in your network, ask them if they'd be willing to accept payment from you because you're trying to get into a new line of profession, a new field, and you understand the value in them helping you. You know, oftentimes this will allow you to get help from someone you otherwise might not have been able to, simply because they understand that you are not going to waste their time. It's not that you have enough to pay for the person's time. If they're successful, you probably don't, but it allows you to get around some of those initial barriers. So, okay, just to recap, if you're currently a employee and you want to be an entrepreneur, the 4 things you have to start doing are you need to decide what industry you want to go into and what the core technology is in that industry. You need to start reaching out to people in that industry that are at the level you want to be at. So if that's a freelancer in that industry, you need to reach out to them. If that's an agency owner, you need to reach out to them. If that's a business owner who has created their own product or service, you need to reach out to them. Third thing you need to do is to start a project with the core technology that's used in that industry. If you want to get into web development, you need a web development project. If you want to get into advertising, you need some example of ad campaigns that you run. If you want to get into sales, you need to have some sort of product you have experience selling or some sort of sales team that you've helped. You get the idea. The 4th one, this is the bonus, is to consult with someone you otherwise would not be able to by offering to pay them. So you can contact someone, ask to pay them for their time. In another video, I'll get into how I've done this in the past to get jobs, that were unlisted, that weren't on the job market, simply by reaching out to the right people. So anyway, that's a quick little intro to how you can go from being an employee to an entrepreneur. I'm gonna expand on this in later videos. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button and comment below letting me know what other topics you'd like me to get into. And as always, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you're notified anytime that I come out with a new video. Thanks for watching.